Jan friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the latest news of the day. And the latest news is that China has deployed its 70,000-ton aircraft carrier called Shandong off the coast of Philippines. And why has China done that? Ladies and gentlemen, in the recent past, there have been a lot of activities in the South China Sea. You're aware that both China and Philippines covet a certain part of the South China Sea. There are some shoals, there are some areas that Philippines calls its own, and China says, well, we're prepared to use force if the dispute goes from A to B. China is putting in force. China has put Shandong, as I mentioned, a 70,000-ton displacement aircraft carrier. This aircraft carrier is indigenously built by China, and China showcases this aircraft carrier as part of China's enhanced weapons manufacturing prowess. Now, what is Philippines doing about it? We are going to discuss that today in this short video, and we are also going to tell you what India has already done and what Philippines could do in the future, because this threat of China is not a threat that Philippines can take lightly, and Philippines has been threatened. Its Coast Guard officials have been assaulted, its ships boarded, its weapons stolen by the PLA Navy, and also their other Coast Guard vessels have been rammed by Chinese ships. So clearly a case of aggression by the Chinese here. And Shandong's patrol is likely part of a scheduled exercise, but it could also prepare the carrier for potential far-sea voyages into the Western Pacific. This suggests China's growing naval capabilities and its willingness to project power beyond its immediate maritime boundaries. Now, what China says is that there is continuous Philippine provocation. Now, what is this continuous Philippine what have the Filipinos done? Have they attacked Beijing? What in God's name have they done? So, the Philippines, backed by the United States, has been challenging China's sweeping territorial claims in the region, which is true. And it's not just the United States. This March, Dr. S. Jaishankar went to the Philippines and he told a gathering in Manila that we stand with you. And he told them as clearly, in case there is a conflict, we're with you. In case there is a conflict. And which was that conflict that he was referring to? Or that supposed conflict which would happen in the future? Obviously between Philippines and China. Philippines not going to attack Japan. Philippines and China, and India stands with the Philippines. That is what is communicated to the Filipinos. And the China-Philippines confrontation in the South China Sea has recently turned violent, with the navies and coast guards of the two countries engaging in face-offs. Last month, a Philippine naval ship and a Chinese vessel collided near the second Thomas Shoal, further escalating the tensions. All right. And the Philippines, in response to this provocation of Shandong, has deployed US-made Typhoon missile systems. So these are Typhoon missile systems that it has deployed because it's got them from the United States of America. The Philippines also deployed its own naval assets and Coast Guard, and the Philippines has sought support from the United States and other regional allies. As I said, Dr. Jaishankar went to Manila and he assured them India stands with the Philippines. Now, you see, we very recently, at the cost of $379.9 million, India deployed the BrahMos missile system on Filipino soil. So Philippines now has BrahMos, and they should try it sometime. Fire a couple of BrahMos at Shandong and Shandong will cease to exist. If that is the language that the Chinese understand, then so be it. It's going to be a big shock. Whatever the repercussions, losing Shandong will be a big shock. And the BrahMos can do it. A few BrahMos fired at the Shandong. Right? It's going to create a hole big enough for a truck to pass through. Now, China has also deployed, ladies and gentlemen, the J-20 stealth fighters in the Tibet airfield. So, China deploys J-20 stealth fighters. These are 5th generation fighters. And they have deployed them just 155 kilometers away from the line of actual control. And for a fighter jet, for a supersonic fighter jet, 5th generation, 155 kilometers is nothing. It's peanuts. It's like being there bang on the border. It's nothing. But China has deployed them there, and it has the capability to carry long-range air-to-air missiles and precision-guided munitions, internally enhancing its stealth profile. And the deployment showcases PLA Air Force's ability to operate high-end platforms at high-altitude bases and project air power in the region. And it says that the J20 deployment is a concern for India. That's number one. And the J20 deployment is a political signal that the border dispute with India is no longer just a territorial issue, but also one of sovereign airspace. It could lead to more frequent air violations. And this is what I'm saying needs to be done, ladies and gentlemen. This provocation from China will continue. And I've been saying this time and again, this is not the first time I'm saying it. I've been saying this continuously, this provocation from China will continue. They'll just keep on. They'll keep on doing it. They'll keep on pushing, right? They have placed, this is a supersonic 5th generation fighter jet, right? The J-20. Even if they position it 155 kilometers behind the line of actual control, what does that tell you? It simply tells you that this is almost bang on the LSA. It's not like 1,000 kilometers behind or 500 kilometers behind, 155. It's nothing. And Tibet is a plateau. And we don't have plateaus here along the LAC. Most of the terrain is high altitude and mountainous. Tibet is a plateau. It's easier to take off and land. Though high altitude. It gives you the opportunity to carry out mech warfare maneuvers, because that is the kind of terrain that you need for mech warfare, for the mechanized forces to operate. Though even our mech forces are there in the mountains, but being a plateau has its own advantages. And this is what China is doing, ladies and gentlemen. Whether it is Philippines, whether it's Japan, whether it's India, they will keep on pushing the envelope. This is coercion. And this is how the Chinese do coercion. Because now they seem to think that India does not have, 5th generation fighters. India has 4.5. The Rafale is a 4.5 generation fighter. So what they will do is, now the next step for the Chinese, and mark my words, save this video, the next step for the Chinese is to breach the line of actual control. They will send their fighter jets and they will try and breach the line of control. It is important for India to bring down a J-20 or 2. That is the only language that the Chinese will understand, ladies and gentlemen. You can do whatever you want. You can have 20 more corps commanders talks. They will result in a net of zero. Zero. Because the Chinese don't want to talk to you. When you are talking to the Chinese, remember, you are talking to the Chinese because you want to solve the problem. The Chinese are talking to you because they are biding their time. They're making their defenses stronger. They are trying to give you the impression that they are actually concerned about the outcome, that they are actually interested in talking to you so that mutual talks, diplomacy can sort out the issue. For them, sorting out the issue means taking your land or taking our land in that sense. That is what sorting out the issue means for the Chinese. And they want these talks to continue. They love these talks. They love these talks because they don't have to do anything. They just sit there, they talk for 12 hours non-stop and give you an assurance and let's meet next month. Let's meet next month. And we are saying, hey, maybe there is some progress. We're meeting next month and the Chinese are eager for talks. No, they're buying time. And in the interim, they're setting up these villages along the line of actual control. They're creating air bases. They're creating infrastructure. Why do you think they're putting the J-20 there? Why do you think the Chinese are deploying J-20 there? They're deploying the J-20 simply. J-20 is an offensive platform. And they'll keep on talking to you. You'll keep on talking to them. And they'll keep on building up the reserves. So the only way to deal with the Chinese is to give them shock treatment. Indonesia should do it. We should do it. Once you give the Chinese the shock treatment, once they see a couple of their aircraft down and a couple of their soldiers killed, the Chinese will come to their senses and peace will prevail along the line of actual control. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I come to the end of my video. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, press the like button. I'm going to be back again tomorrow with another fresh video. Till then, Jai Hind.